for the interconscious communications. Yeah? Do you have break or I move forward? Hello? Let's have 10-minute breaks. Yeah? And before we move to the last sections. Yeah? So please be back here at 4:10. 4:10. And 10 past 4. Okay? 10 past 4. Yeah. Thank you. Hello. May I have your attendance mark? For those I don't call your name means that I already mark your attendance. Đó. Văn Anh, Bùi Thị Văn Anh. Hello. Thank you em. Phương Anh. Phương Anh. Lê Phương Anh. Mai Thu Hà.
Có
Mai
ạ.
Thu Hà.
Có ạ.
Rồi Chu Thị Hiền. Đấy. Nguyễn Thị Mai Hương. Nguyễn Thị Mai Hương. Trịnh Trung Kiên.
Có ạ.
Thank you. Nguyễn Diệu Linh.
Có ạ.
Thank you. Nguyễn Thị Ngọc Mai. Nguyễn Thị Ngọc Mai. Đó. Nguyễn Quang Minh.
Dạ có.
Thank you. Cao Thị Kim Ngân.
Có ạ.
Nguyễn Thị Phương Nhi.
Có ạ.
Thank you. Phan Đăng Thành.
Có ạ.
Thank you. Trần Anh Thư.
Có ạ.
Thank you. Lê Thảo Trang.
Có ạ.
Ok. Bạn Hoàng Thanh Trúc. Hoàng Thanh Trúc. Trương Thanh Tùng.
Có ạ.
Thank you. Nguyễn Thị Mai Liên. Nguyễn Thị Mai Liên. So I call again. Nguyễn Thị Mai Liên. Hoàng Thanh Trúc. Nguyễn Thị Ngọc Mai. How come so many people are absent? Nguyễn Thị Mai Hương. Nguyễn Thị Mai Hương. Lê Phương Anh.
Thanh Yên có ạ.
Thanh gì em?
Thanh Yên ạ.
Thanh Yên.
Cô ơi, Thanh Trúc có ạ.
Thanh Yên cậu đã có rồi nhé. Thanh Trúc ok rồi. Mai Liên có không? Mai Liên không hả? How come? Because I see Ngọc Mai nào. Because I see there are 28 people here. Who's that? Họ Kim Sát. Ai? Ai hả em?
Ngọc Linh ạ.
Ngọc Linh có rồi em. Bây giờ cô chỉ gọi những người nào chưa có mặt ở đây xem có không. Ngọc Mai có không? Mai Hương. Lê Phương Anh.
Có ạ.
Ok. Rồi. Right. Okay. Thank you. Save it. Do you still see slides, don't you? You still see slide. Let me see who's sending the message. Phương Anh. Okay, right. Phương Anh comes. Now we move to the next section, that is business meetings. We know all the informations to be team effective team members, and also the hints.
Cô ơi, vừa nãy cô gọi em ạ.
Tên là gì em?
Ngọc Mai ạ, em vừa bị out ra.
Ok. Ngọc Mai hả?
Dạ vâng ạ.
Đúng rồi, có đây. Ok em. Right. So now we bring all such kinds of things to very common activities if you join the workforce. That is the business meeting. Yeah, since you are preparing yourselves to join the workforce very soon, I think in 1 year or maximum 2 years, you will be a full-time workforce. So you should expect to attend a lot of meetings. Yeah, attend a lot of meetings. Yeah, so therefore, you need to equip yourself with the knowledge how to be effective at business meeting. So in these sections, we will cover say something. Let me check. Is there? I think it keeps announced. Let me do it again. Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, thank you. Right. So the 5 contents to be covered in this topic, including the overviews of the meeting, the process of meeting, how are you going to plan, how are you going to lead, and how are you going to evaluate the effectiveness of the meeting. Agenda is one of the agenda is really important for any meeting. So we will look deeper in agenda, rule of the meetings, and many other things that it helps to lead the meeting successfully. So like I mentioned, you will enjoy the workforce very soon. So you expect yourselves to attend a lot of meetings. So what is meeting? Different definitions of meeting. However, it shares in the same comments that meeting is an event, and in which the people come together to discuss things or making decisions. So the meetings can be in form of the face-to-face or virtually meetings. Right. And why to have the meeting? That now let's look at the statement of Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker, I think I have mentioned him several times in the previous class. He is the strategic scholar, famous scholar in the strategics here. So for him, people's hold specific job. You know your job. The other knows their job. But this job, these people need to interact with each other in order to get a specific task done beyond your job. Why is that? Because because that the experience, they need the experience, and that experience is so individual. And in order to complete the task, they need to mobilize different experience from different people. So it stress for the importance of having this meeting. And in the company, there will be many other things need to be done to have make decisions need to be decided in the meeting, including we have meeting to solve the problem, any problem, operational level problems, and also organizational problem. To develop a plan, it wants to expand the factory, it wants to expand the network, distributions network, need to develop plan to gather information and also to send the message to the audience. You also need a meeting and to make decision. So that is, and here is some statistic show number related to the meeting. Yeah, you will find so many meetings. Okay, so according to the statistic, there are 11 million meetings are held each day. Every day, every working day, 11 million meetings are held. And which means that we have 55 million meetings held per week and 220 million meetings held per year. So here's working day is only 5 per week. Yeah? And 15% of the organization's time is spent in meeting. So you have like the others, 85 to do the real works, right? And this percentage has increased every year since 2008. Yeah? And it has been observed that the middle managers spend like 35% of their time in meeting. So, the managers, they have only 65% time for their own works, right? The higher positions in the company, the more time they will spend in meeting. Especially the board of directors and board of management, which means the CEOs and vice CEOs, chairmen or board of directors. Yeah. So the employees in upper management spend 50% of their meetings. Yeah. And researchers says that ordinary employees spend like 4 hours per week preparing for the status update meeting. So it's not only people that attend the meeting, affected by the meeting, but also subordinating people, supporting people for the meeting also impacted. And a recent survey found that 67% of the employee complain that spending too much time in meeting and it will affect to the productive at work. And 30% of the employee found that they waste 2 to 5 hours per day, 2 to 5 hours per day on meeting or call. So this is a really, amazing numbers and more, recordings numbers to be shared to you. This is the employee consider meetings to be a waste time. And here is number. Traditionally, employee attends 62 meetings per month. And 50% of these meetings are waste of time. That is the self-evaluated. And a survey suggests that 92% of employees multitask during a meeting, like you do other things rather than concentrate on the meeting. Morse is a survey of 180 senior managers discovered that 71 perceived meeting as unproductive. So that is at senior level. They see that if they attend like 100 meetings, so only 29 of them being seen as the productive, and 71 of the meeting is seen as unproductive. While the executive considers 67 of meetings fail to communicate to their objective, or maybe they do not have, or they have, but they don't communicate the objective of the communications. I'm now talking about the cost of the meeting. Here's the cost, some recordings number. The cost of poorly organized meeting reach almost 400 billion US dollars in US. And in the UK, it's much smaller number, like 1/4. Cost comparing to the US. There will be many reasons for that. Probably the numbers of the company, the size of the company as well. And suppose that, you know, it's help, the number will help you to imagine the realities. Suppose an average employee is making 60,000 per year, and the company has 100 employees. So in that case, the cost of meeting will raise from 2.25 million. While the cost of unproductive meeting is close to, is about 750,000 US dollars. Some trends, you know, meeting trend, you need to know it because you will join the workforce soon. Yeah? It will apply to your case. So here are some meeting trends. Remote works will increase weekly meeting times by 10%, resulting in 3 additional meetings per week. Okay. 70% of employee experience a 70% increase in the meeting after work and home was initiated. So actually, you know, remove from home will increase time for the meetings. Yeah? And due to the pandemic, the rates on one-on-one meeting increased. So amazing. There are a lot of the interactions, and it increased almost close to 20%. And also there is several amazing records related to the meeting threads. So you can see the durations of the meetings. A large shares is go to, you know, above about 30 minutes. And about 20%, 1/5 is go for 1 hour, it's long meeting. Yeah. And also related to the numbers, majorities of the meeting will be held with 4 to 7 people. And types of meeting, so far you already know that there will be so many different kinds of communications. So based on that, we can identify the meeting types. Yeah? We have the formal, and we have the informal, we have the organizational level, and we have the operational level. Now, this is the factors that cause unproductive meeting. So understand it and find the way to remove all of these 5 meeting problems. The first thing is 28% lack of participant preparations. Why? Because there will be so many reasons for that. Probably they don't ask early enough. Poor communications. Time allocated is not observed. So come up not the correct one. Not follow up on the task and no minutes. Minutes, do you know minutes? Minute là các cái văn bản đấy, sau cuộc họp người ta cứ ghi lại đấy, là chúng ta sẽ gọi là minutes. Yeah? And here's the tips to improve the productivities in meeting. You will easily find that, okay, the things that we have discussed before are, you know, installed here. First is have the clear objective for the meetings. Yeah? Plan the meeting structures in advance. Send the meetings materials earlier enough. At least 2 days for the simple one and more times for the required reading. Stay on the schedules using the latest technology to streamline the meeting process. Yeah? And follow up with the employees. So that is tips to improve the productivities in meeting. So that is the overall of the meeting. Now we'll move to the process of meeting. The process of meetings, you know, we will identify it based on a long of meeting conducts, starting from the plannings, the meeting. They say that the well begun is half done. So you plan things ahead, is already in details, you already achieved the half done. So they will be planning meeting, conduct meeting, or we can call leading this file and review the meeting based on consequences of time. So planning the meetings here is include these sub below tasks in the planning. What we need to do, we need to identify the purpose meeting. And once we have identified the purpose and the theme of the meeting, then we will move to prepare a clear agenda. Move to prepare the agenda. Ensure proper meeting environments and identify and overcome. Identify and have the solutions to remove the potential barriers. So we are in the planning, right? And then what we need to do is conduct the meeting. We lead the meeting, and review. Now we was, for the subsequent slides, we was focused on the key things in the meeting process. So like mentions, when begun is half done. So focusing on the initial step, the first step. Now look at here, you see determining the meeting purpose. So the meeting purpose has been identified. There will be so many reasons we need to see each other, or we need to meet. So many good reasons. And the bullet points below is like a checklist for you, because they have done recorded statistics to see, the comments interval of the reasons for the meetings. So to make decisions, to share and answers, two ways to resolve the issues that have been unresolved yet, to negotiate, to review and inform progress, to delegate work authorities. So many. It's like a checklist for us when we prepare for the meeting. And if you couldn't find any good reasons to meet, so why have to meet? We only meet when there is needed, and the need is when we shows in the reasons, the purpose of the meeting. So if there is no good reasons to meet, just say no for it. Say no for it. Right. Now, in the preparation, the second, the most important, but in order, this is the second, that is agenda. We have, I have shared with you the agenda, mentions agenda several times. And in this slide, we will look closely to what does it mean by agenda. Agenda is a list of meeting activities and in orders, activities in the orders in which they are to be taken up by beginning with the calls to orders and ending adjournment, right? So the agendas will have the key activity and it is prioritized, this activity. And that is the task that all the participants must be coordinated to support to accomplish in a formal meeting. Sometimes the agenda, they call it as a docket or the schedule, the same meeting. Here is the purpose of agenda. Why we have to develop agenda. This is quite straightforward and direct. You can easily go through it, including the agenda is act as the roadmap for the meeting, so you know when, where, who will be responsible. Such kinds of information are given in the agenda, and also have to remind the participants to keep the meeting on track and on time too. Right. So, since agenda is so important, so and the purpose is critical, right? So we want to know what exactly agenda, compositions. What should be there in the agendas of the meeting? And here is essential elements of an agenda. You will see very key information from the name of the meeting to the purpose of the meeting. You check in the previous slide for the purpose, environments, including the locations, the date, and the time. Who will be participant? The people attending the meeting. Wow, the meeting will have its themes too. Its themes and the topic. Timing means that who will do what, and from this activity will take how much time. And define the responsibilities of the persons too. So, actually in an event, you may see a lot of people, however, there only a couple of people play a key role. Hang on 1 second. Sorry for disturbing interruption. Well, so you may like to see the formats of agenda. There will be different kinds of format. More important is what should be there and how are you going to format it. And one important thing in the meeting is the participant. Without the participant, the meeting could not be successful. So therefore, considering who should be participant, that is another issue in the meeting. Like you are going to have the meeting, I believe so. Let's say there will be 5 people. So are you thinking of inviting all the 5 people, or with this subtopic, only you and another people need to interact, or maybe 3 people, that's it? So you're thinking who will be included. So here it also again like a checklist for you to consider whether is the relevant participants joining the meeting. The first is the people's relevant knowledge of the discussed subjects. You consider this, whether that is one type of the participant. The second type is the people who have the powers to make decisions or give approval. Otherwise, otherwise you have to, reorganize the meetings. It's time to. So if in case this is a decision-making meeting, but the authorized people cannot join, it's better that we postpone in another time. Persons who are responsible for implementing the decisions made, like they decide to introduce a new channels in distributions, but the people who in charge of doing it, implementing it, is not there in the meeting, and those that represent a group that won't be affected by decisions making at the meeting. For example, there is a merge of the two departments. So, only one department joined the meeting. The others are not invited, but they are strongly affected by that decision. So once again, go through it in details and consider who will be joining the meeting. For the importance and large meetings, so maybe the meeting should be structures, should be think of the appropriate structures. So structures here mean that you will assign appropriate roles to the people. For example, in the team, who will be the team leaders, or we say that facilitators, or who is the chairs of that meeting? Or do we need the moderators? Do we need the facilitators or not? So the team leaders, the role is to set the guidelines and the goal of the meeting. Very important. And timekeepers. Timekeepers is the persons assigned to ensure the deadline in the agenda to be met. Stick to the agenda, like in terms of timing. The process monitors is oversight the meetings, and keep the team focused on the theme of meeting. To come here for the specifics, purpose. Size discussions will be eliminated. Spoken persons is the persons supposed to be other group. In this case, it may be the external group. External group is important. For example, we will have the annual board meeting. Chúng ta gọi là đại hội cổ đông đó. Annual board meeting. So it will be a person who inform to the shareholders about the results of the meeting. So that person should be there in the meetings too. We call spokespersons. Meeting minutes, taking note for every meeting, even in your assignments also, if your group is small, so one person can play several roles. Taking the minutes is very important because in the minutes it will reinforce what we have agreed in the meeting and what should be done from now on to the coming meeting. And all members are active participants. And here is examples of two meeting agenda. The formats are exactly the same. Like I mentioned that the formats can be different, but the content inside is important. Later you will practice, develop a meeting agenda for your group work. But not now. And guideline here are quite straightforward, so I recommend you to go through it by yourself. Right. And The next ones, before the meetings, happen, you need to predict the barriers that will have the negative impacts to the meeting, and have some measures to prevent it. The barriers should include, the first is unprepared participants. Unprepared participants. So there will be the reasons why, probably you send the notice to the participants in really short notice. They do not have time to prepare. So in this case, analyze whether you're false or not. Next time, you need to, inform or distribute agenda much earlier. Uninformed participants, how can they be ready if they are uninformed? Uncooperative participant. Wow, this one, we need the skilled moderators. But before some of you mentions about positive activities can turn from lack of authorities to accomplish the objective, send the wrong people. So identify this and prepare some measures to prevent, and distribute the meeting agenda for the normal meetings. Normal meeting, and the participants is expects to be there to provide idea, but not the report. Okay, so the agenda should be sent at least 2 days before meeting. At least 2 days before the meeting. If more important meetings, and is when require like a logistic arrangement, so it will take like a few months. For example, if you are expected to join the meeting with partners in Europe, for example, in Europe, and the meetings will be in September, mid of September. By this time, they must inform you already. By this time, because it will require a lot of logistic things in order to join that meeting. So, and when you send agenda, you also send the relevant materials to the participants. And maybe the previous minutes may be important for this, in order to recall what we have agreed in the previous meeting. Questions so far? Right. Okay. Now, meeting environments. We need to plan for the environments where the effective meeting would be held. And this, if the meeting environments is not good, definitely it will have the negative impact to the effectiveness of the meeting. So you see a lot of things here, you answering, consider these questions, try to have the appropriate answer for it. It will help you to imagine the meeting environments. The first is the time convenience. If you are organizing the meeting with a participant coming from different countries or different continentals, is so headache. And enough time for each activities. Enough time for the listed topic to be discussed, or too many topic. How long the meeting? When we need a break or not? And how many breaks and so on. Have the structures meeting and so on. There's so many questions here, quite direct. And I believe that you will easily have the answers for it. Well, and you will also pause and practice the rules in the meeting. Okay, so we have to prepare the rules for the meetings. The rules for the meetings, like generally, is like that. And of course, you know your people, like if they are never late, so you remove beyond time. So, or if they always use phone and speak loudly in the meeting, so you apply that rules to eliminate it. If they want to speak, they need to go out of the meeting room and have the phone conversations for such kinds of things. So here is just the recommended list. Beyond time, get to know participants. So maybe there will be introduction sections. The strong agenda means a very clear about the purpose and also activities. Meeting. Ask them to have the active, to be an active listener. Like one person speak one time, respect the others when they do speaking, and so on. So, paraphrase to confirm what you hear. Make sure that you understand correctly. Right? Take notes. Stay in the process. View on the other ideas. Because when you come to the meeting, there is very preliminary idea. So the more once the meetings go on, it will have a lot of ideas and view up on that ideas. No phones, or maybe no internet. So that is the room. Now I recommend you to think about the rooms for your group work, for your team, for your group work, for your group meetings. Think of it and quickly transform our group from the storming to the norming, because the norming, the symptoms of norming is that we start to think that we need a room so in order to make the meeting more effectively. The records ideas is important. Like a minutes is like one kind of the report of the reports. The video or the recordings by videos, but actually that one is not helping much, because we don't need to record the whole thing. We just need to record what discussed and the results of discussions. And we have here is what you should do and what you should not do in the meeting at the beginning. So you see, the beginning, you come to the meeting with the can attitude. Do you know the can attitude? Everything can be done. Everything is possible. Because if you think it's impossible, you already fail in your head so far. So that's why can attitude is important. And everything is possible. Good agendas, greeting participants. If number of participants is not much, spend allocate some time to respectfully introduce them in the meeting. And there is negative, you can easily imagine. The chairperson is important because everybody is there, but the chairperson hasn't come yet. So the whole meeting has to wait, right? And chairpersons not prepared, the other prepared, the chairpersons are unprepared. So how can he or she moderate the meeting without well preparation. The meeting room is not ready and so on. Huh? Actually, based on the negative thing, you can build off the rule based on this. Right, the leading meeting. Leading meeting, start on time. You start on time, you respect the people's on time in the meeting. If you don't start the meeting on time, you waste time of the people attending the meeting on time. Get to know and so there will be many other things that I think a couple of you have mentioned in the discussion so far. Yes. Some of you here mentions the open-ended question. The open-ended and closed-ended question. Closed-ended questions means that the questions with the availabilities of possible answer. That is the closed-ended question. It's not only yes or no. Yes or no is just one form of closed-ended question. And whether open-ended question, the researchers do not provide you any possibles of answers for open-ended question. And to show you the way how you deal with the questions that are not relevant. Right. Okay. So that thing is shoots, and here is avoid. You need to control your emotion. Resentling question, try to avoid it. And if you are really, but you try to avoid it and not showing your emotionally. I'll get into discussions and monopolize. It's monopolize. Do you know the monopolize? Độc quyền, độc chiếm luôn cái cuộc meeting đó. And bad attitudes like put the participants down. Being confused, unprepared, or not knowledgeable. So here, what you should do in open and closed meeting. Do not ramble into the topic, the rambles. Do not just talk nonsense about the topic. And for the closest importance, close actually you do the summary, you seek for the agreements of participants, because generally when in the meeting, when we discuss the thing is already, agree. Now you reconfirm, stress on the agreements and clarify what should be next, and maybe allocate who will be what, based on the agreement. And is there another meetings required? Evaluate the meeting. Evaluate the meeting. You have the checklist, agendas. You compare with this to see how good you accomplish the activities have been listed out in the meeting. How good that you achieve the purpose of the meeting. Unproductive meeting. So this one is we keep discussing about the productive, and opposite will be the unproductive. Now I will move to last slide. I will move to the last slide. That is the meeting virtually. Because nowadays the due to the pressures in running the business, pressures coming from the stakeholders. So they ask the board of management to cut the cost, and one cost will be cut a lot. That is the travel cost. So therefore, whether it's COVID or no COVID, but the company also tried to cut the travel costs in the meeting. So therefore, virtual meeting will be promoted more and more in the future. So what is the virtual meeting? Virtual meeting are real-time gatherings of dispersed, spread everywhere, participants who connect with the communications technologies, like she's in the pictures doing, like what I am doing now, but actually this is not considered as meeting, because this one is like a trainings, educations, not meeting. So you see the reasons, or why, so cut costs, that is the important thing. And also a lot of technologies available for the virtual meeting to save costs, and at the same time ensure the effectiveness of the virtual meeting. So you see that events, we apply a lot of good practices from the face-to-face meeting to virtual meeting. A lot of the practice works. However, if you run the virtual meeting, you need additional attentions. Here is the effective virtual meeting. Need to be pay attention, right? And you need the additional skill and practice in order to run the virtual meeting. So this is the best practice recommended by experienced meeting facilitators. Will help you address pre-meeting issue, such as because the virtual meeting we need technologies, so more focused on the technology we call technology glitches, tức là những cái trục trặc về kỹ thuật của chúng ta đó, về công nghệ đó. So first, you decide that which technologies will be used for the meeting, whether we use Zoom, well, or we use Teams, or we use the what is this? The Google Meet, or what kind of technologies you use, right? Okay, so select the most appropriate technology. It should be proven technologies. And that technologies equip full functions that meeting needs. For example, the meeting will need the interpreter. So there should be a functions of it. You know that the Zoom here, they will be the spontaneous interpreters. But in order to capture that functions, you need to have the full authorities. You must have the license. So the first is select the appropriate technologies. Second is to ensure that all participants be able to use technology. So maybe pre-training before the meeting is needed. Maybe it's needed. Who knows? Or even prepare the guideline for the participants, guide them how to use it if it is simple. Encourage participants to log in at least 15 minutes earlier. If the meeting is quite often, so we ask to join the meeting. Be aware of different time zones. The virtual meeting can help to borderless, borderless without borders, from countries to country. So time will be, and rotate your meeting times to be fair to all dispersed group members. Like today, I am from Vietnam. They try to arrange meeting with time quite work well for me in daytime. But it's when for the others, continentals, other countries, it will maybe in early morning or in the late evening. So next time, such kinds of things need to be rotated to be fair. Decide what language to use, what kinds of language, and explain how the questions may be asked and answers. In the class, it's easy. In the offline meeting, it's easy. So, you can voice hand, you can use hand, invite these people, or you can ask them to wait a little bit. But in virtual meetings, such kinds of things, you need to have the room on that. Like, for example, if you want to say, you will raise your virtual hand, for example. Such kinds of things we should have them. And one person speaks at one time, and when you are listening, you will mute your mic. Such kinds of things. Ensure that it is clear who is speaking in the audio conference. So, introduce yourself or say your name, or maybe turn on the cameras. It's important. Remind the groups to silence, mute and unmute and work it, smoothly. Don't multitask. Okay, focus on the meetings. Don't do the side things. Anticipate the limitations of virtual technologies. You may have the backup solutions, backup technologies, backup solutions, alternatives. Manage turns takings, share the leaderships. Ask the question of the specific questions, don't let the others speak too much. Invite each participant to speak for, let's say, 30 seconds or 1 minute. Avoid asking like vague questions, and humanize the virtual meeting. Like build trust and interest by logging early and greeting others as they join in. Leave times for leave time for to build up the rapport, in order to establish a warm environment before the meeting starts. So that is hints for us when we practice the virtual meeting. So that is for today's. So I pause here to see that you have the questions. Hello, are you there? Are you with me? Are you still with me?
Yes.
Good. Now if I ask you each group to develop a meeting agenda for your group works, for your next meeting of the group work, can you do it? Agenda. Can I ask each group to develop an agenda for the coming meetings of your group work? Are you clear? Hello? Hello? Where are you? Where are you? Are you tired? Are you tired? Listening too much? Tired? Okay, never mind. It's okay. I think we covered quite a lot of documents, a lot of information today. So I let you digest it. Take time to digest it. Okay, and do it as the homework to prepare an agenda for your coming meetings of the group. Okay? Agree? Yes? Yeah? Yes? Right. And next week, it will be the presentations week. You know, the topic is a presentation. So I know that you have a separate course called presentations, yeah, presentations. So I was, let's see what I can add on to your existing knowledge in that topic, and I will allocate like an hours for our class to discuss about the group work. So you will be ready for presentations in the week after. Yes? Yeah? Yes? Agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Cô ơi, tuần sau thuyết trình luôn à?
No, tuần sau not thuyết trình. Tuần sau của chúng ta là chủ đề về presentations mà. Mà cô biết là các em có học một môn về presentations đúng không? Đấy, thế bây giờ chúng ta thử xem là cái presentation này là presentation số what? Chúng ta xem chúng ta có thể là recall lại này, có thể có thêm một cái additional value gì đó. Và tuần sau thì cô sẽ dành 1 tiếng để cho các nhóm của chúng ta trao đổi, thảo luận về cái bài tập nhóm ấy. Đấy, để tuần sau nữa thì lớp của chúng ta mới phải trình bày cái bài tập nhóm. Và ở đây chúng ta không cần phải viết report nhá, mà chúng ta chỉ chuẩn bị slide. Và các bạn nhớ rằng là cái bài tập nhóm này của chúng ta sẽ được build up dựa trên 4 nguồn tài liệu. Cho nên chắc chắn là các bạn sẽ phải có một slide về cái tài liệu tham khảo. Đó, và cái slide cuối cùng đấy, cái tài liệu tham khảo. Ok. Chúng ta rõ chưa?
Rồi ạ.
Rồi chúng ta có câu hỏi gì không?
Cái chủ đề tức là em muốn hỏi rõ hơn về cái chủ đề là cái, tức là nó là cái sự ảnh hưởng của cái việc kiểu công nghệ ảnh hưởng đến cái việc giao tiếp ở trong môi trường công việc hay là trong học tập cũng được cô?
Đây như thế là chị hiểu như thế thì chưa hẳn là đã đúng nhá. Ở đây của chúng ta là cái đầu bài của chúng ta là có rất là nhiều các cái công nghệ để giúp chúng ta truyền thông hay là thông tin liên lạc, communications của chúng ta, gọi là thông tin liên lạc trong doanh nghiệp của chúng ta. Có rất nhiều các cái công nghệ. Thế thì nhóm của chúng ta sẽ chọn lấy 1 hoặc tối đa là 2 công nghệ hiện nay có ở trên thị trường, công nghệ nào cũng được, đúng không ạ? Và chúng ta sẽ phân tích xem là cái công nghệ đó ấy, chúng ta có, tức là thu thập các bằng chứng, chứng cứ để chứng minh đây là một công nghệ rất là hữu hiệu trong doanh nghiệp, trong việc sử dụng thông tin liên lạc giữa doanh nghiệp với đối tượng bên ngoài nhé. Giữa doanh nghiệp với đối tượng bên ngoài, với stakeholder, external stakeholder. External stakeholder của chúng ta có thể là khách hàng, đấy là người bên ngoài, đúng không ạ? Còn chúng ta giao tiếp ở trong nội bộ của chúng ta, cái đấy thì yêu cầu của bài này không phải là như vậy, mà ở đây là để chúng ta giao tiếp về phía bên ngoài của chúng ta cơ. Đấy có thể là khách hàng này. Đấy. Ví dụ như chúng ta sẽ thấy là rất nhiều doanh nghiệp sử dụng voice chat chẳng hạn, có sử là như thế đấy, để giao tiếp với lại khách hàng ở phía bên ngoài. Có thể là với các nhà cung cấp của chúng ta, có thể là với các cái nhóm đối tượng có liên quan, như là các nhóm người ta gọi là watchdog, tức là những cái nhóm mà luôn luôn đi xăm soi doanh nghiệp của chúng ta xem có cái lỗi gì không đấy. Đấy, có xả thải ra môi trường hay không, có lạm dụng lao động trẻ em hay không, rồi là các cái thành phần ở trong sản phẩm của nó có an toàn hay không. Cái nhóm đấy là chuyên nhóm đi xăm soi. Chúng ta cũng phải giao tiếp với họ, hoặc là với ngân hàng. Thì dễ dàng, để dễ dàng cho chúng ta thì chúng ta nên limit nó là giao tiếp với lại khách hàng. Đó, nó chọn được cái công nghệ nó phải có bằng chứng, cho nên chúng ta phải research nó một chút. Trên cái bài này người ta gọi là research project là vì như vậy. Chúng ta phải research. Người ta nói rằng là giả sử nhá, email thì nó đã quá cũ rồi, đúng không ạ? Nhưng giả sử là như thế, tại vì các công nghệ hiện nay như cô có liệt kê cho chúng ta rất là nhiều các công nghệ, ví dụ công nghệ AI chẳng hạn, công nghệ Internet of Things để giúp chúng ta kết nối các thứ lại với nhau, để giúp cho doanh nghiệp sau khi mà họ đưa các cái sản phẩm về, họ chỉ cần nhập một lần thôi, thì khi mà chúng ta muốn share các cái thông tin đấy đến cho khách hàng, nó phải được share một cách tự động. Đó, ở trong đó thì cái đấy nó gọi là hệ thống thông tin liên lạc, đúng không? Thì chúng ta phải có các cái evidence chứng tỏ rằng cái công nghệ này áp dụng ở doanh nghiệp nào đó thì nó rất hiệu quả, người ta đã set được time là như thế nào, bao nhiêu lần, người ta đã set được chi phí, vân vân và vân vân. Chúng ta phải search một chút thì chúng ta mới có được các cái bài nghiên cứu của nó nhé. Ta đã rõ chưa nhỉ? Chứ không chúng ta không rõ là chúng ta tìm sai. Cái quan trọng là chúng ta hiểu đầu bài thì chúng ta biết là chúng ta thực sự đang tìm cái gì nhé. Ok, anh có chưa?
Vâng ạ.
Các nhóm khác nữa nào? Right. Ok, hôm nay thì cô nghĩ là chúng ta cũng đã học vất vả rồi đấy. Vậy thì các bạn sẽ nghỉ ngơi nhá. Đấy, chuẩn bị làm. Chúng ta phải stop để chúng ta bắt được tay vào làm việc thì chúng ta mới có câu hỏi được. Đó. Để sang tuần làm sao mà chúng ta đã phải hòm được các cái bài của chúng ta rồi, chúng ta có câu hỏi. Để từ tuần sau là chúng ta chỉ làm tinh nó thôi. Để chuẩn bị cho cái tuần sau nữa của chúng ta là thuyết trình nhé. Okay, so we end here today.
Cô ơi, cô điểm danh giúp em
Okay.
ạ. Em là Đoàn.
Nguyễn Công Đoàn.
Em
Sao
cảm ơn.
em làm sao? Em sao Đoàn? Đoàn
Cô
ơi,
điểm danh giúp em với ạ.
cô đã điểm danh cho em rồi, cô biết có em, cô điểm danh rồi.
Vâng, em cảm ơn ạ.
Nhá. Okay, so we end here, sir. We finish here. See you next week. Take care.